Good afternoon. This is RFC Maki here, giving you the latest in my series of flight reports for the game Birds of Steel. It is December 10th, 2014, and I'm reporting on a video that I recorded from the weekend. I set up a series of games on, it must have been Friday night, maybe Saturday night, a series of games in which I've played with all sim settings, no marked enemies, no marked maps, nothing on the radar, just relying on pilot view, which is locked into the cockpit. I'm still working slowly on acquiring all 30 kills to unlock the next skin for the Spitfire 2. And so I'm getting a little bit better in the Spitfire 2. You may, if you've seen any of my previous videos, you know that there are several things I've been trying to work on, one of which is my look around and my alertness. Second is trying to fly a little bit more smoothly so I can line up my shots a bit better. This game that I'm recording here was a game that I had, the last of my series of game that night. I don't like to quit early because if I've got other players playing, then recording the game drops them out in the online game. So I waited at the very last game until it was about time for me to go to bed and set this one up. So here I am flying in a in a Spitfire 2. I think I said Hurricane before, but flying in a Spitfire 2, an early war Spitfire, and I've discovered that getting into the air and getting above 1,000 feet early on seems to be the key to doing well in this game. Once again, I'm flying on the Ruhr, Germany map. This is over the city of Essen, which is the center point, so most of the battle seems to take place over top of this city. I had one other guy playing on my side. He seems to be flying a Spitfire, and you can see him flying around every once in a while. And I had another guy flying, a guy on the other side. I don't remember who the name was, but he was flying, looks like mostly 109s in this game. So in this game right now, I'm flying, circling the city overall, just trying to find any enemies I can find that aren't already being chased by my AI wingmen. One of the challenges of this game, and it's one reason some of my friends don't enjoy playing with no marked enemies and nothing on the map, is that it can be difficult and challenging to find your enemies. So here I am trying to climb for altitude, keeping an eye on my speed and my energy to see if I can't keep the energy up, making sure that whenever I dive down like this, I also try to return by flying back up into the air. Mostly flying circularly, just checking out any kind of dot that I spot in the skies above me or behind me, and then listening for machine gun fire or anybody flying by. So sort of zigzagging back and forth. And again, some of my friends might find this to be a bit of a boring part of the game because right now I'm having trouble finding any unmarked or unattacked enemies. But I'm still working on the process of seeing if I can't find enemies. I actually find this kind of exciting, and the video starts off kind of slow, but it ends up pretty well. Now, I had a really great series of games this night where I had, really, I didn't get shot down at all by anybody. Did have some flight troubles. Okay, there goes another Spitfire. You can tell by the broad wings. So the guy that I'm sort of following up behind right here is a Spitfire, and he is on the tail of someone, so I flew behind him for a minute, but it looks like he took care of that guy pretty quickly. No need for me to follow on a wing. So I had a whole series of games recently where I've not been shot down at all. Anytime I've gone down, mostly, except for an occasional incident, mostly it's because I either run out of gas or had a few bad landings here and there, but for the most part I'm doing very well in this plane, getting more and more comfortable, and I feel like I'm getting more agile in these. I had a really great game I didn't save earlier where it was all against AI, but it's some very nice acrobatic moves to bring down the enemies. This game, not so many kills, but a few of them that are pretty nice. So I feel like I might as well show this to you as something interesting or exciting. And there I am approaching the enemy airfield, keeping an eye on who's around, and looking to see if I can't spot someone. There is, in fact, the enemy player flying in a BF-109, and he's taken the tack of flying low above the treetops, so I wait for him to reach the edge of the city. He starts to climb up into the middle, take this guy to the middle, and because he's flying low, he has no energy. I have the energy advantage and managed to shoot his right wing off before he gets a chance to know what's going on. So my first kill in this game, I think it was a very smooth kill, not that much wasted fire on my part, and managed to sneak up on a guy that didn't even know I was there. So I'll take that as a pretty good victory. One more kill towards my Talon. I think at the end of this night, I think I'd still 7 more kills to go, so you'll probably see 1 or 2 more Spitfire videos until I move on to a higher quality or later war Spitfire. Or maybe I'll start doing the Focke-Wulf 190 after this, I'm not really sure. Again, trying to fly as smoothly as I can, keeping an eye out for the landscape and check the skies for any kind of dots moving. I find it difficult to spot the guys against the ground, but as you saw there, the guys against the ground often have very little energy and have some difficulty in rising up to come get me. Another cue sometimes is the flak bursts, although I think that flak burst we just saw there was directed against me specifically, so as you get close to the enemy airfield, they start shooting at you. Tracking another plane here, and it looks to be from this distance like a Gladiator, but I can't quite tell. I'm getting a little bit better at spotting Gladiators and G50s from a distance, since those are the most common planes you see being flown by AI. I'm trying to scan in front of and behind me while maintaining sort of a circular flight plan, keeping the city somewhere in the middle. Parachute. Those parachutes don't confuse me as much as they used to, but there's a parachute up ahead of me that I fly by, and it looks to me like another flak burst or 2 up ahead. So checking behind me, enemy airfield off to my left, my own airfield off to the right. Worth flying around and checking out. Now this game, I think because I'm getting a little bit more confident with the agility of this plane, I'm also putting myself in a few more stalling positions where I think I'm being a little bit risky in dropping my energy down pretty low, coming up high, but I think it's partly because I'm feeling a little bit cocky in this plane. I get used to flying it. Again, a lot of flying around looking for nothing, and I have a feeling for a lot of people this might be a little bit boring, but for me, I do find it enjoyable. Part of the reason I think I'm staying alive these days is because a lot of the guys that I fly against, a lot of the better pilots and flyers out there, have not seen that much in game, not very often. Okay, here's at least 4 different planes. I'm not sure which is which just yet, but at least 4 different planes being chased, and 1 is dropping, so I track that one. Sorry for the game glitch there, but a quick check on my 6 to make sure that my 6 is clear, and back to tracking these guys. It looks like that's a G50 there. So I drop down behind him. He cuts back, looks like he's pulling me into scissors, and a very nice move. Cuts back into me, does a couple quick fires at me, but blows his shot. I stalled, try to pull a quick reverse, and lose them. I think one of the things I really enjoy about not having marked enemies, and when you have marked enemies, there's a little button you can press. I forget what it is set for most people, but I've got it remapped to my Y button, and when I set that button, you just press that button, it shows you where the enemy you just lost was. And so there's really not much you can do from a defensive point of view about losing the guy that's on your tail. So I really prefer having not marked enemies because I really enjoy being able to lose the enemies like that. And the consequences too, I also lost my target that same way. I blew the energy, lost the target, now I have to hunt around for a new target. There's another G50 here, pulling a reverse, and once again I stall but managed to recover. Flying dangerously low. He's somewhere behind me. That's probably him, that dot just back behind me to my right. So if I slowly make my way back around that way, I can try to trace and chase after those dots, but I think I blew my opportunity at that guy. Looking around again to see if I can find anybody at all. And there goes a G50 behind me. So I reverse to try to catch up to him. I'm also getting a little bit better at keeping mental track of where the planes are. So there he is drifting across my front. I start to recover from the turn, and knowing he's going to come into me, take a couple quick shots at him. Probably missed him, but that wasn't a bad shot at him. Pull the reverse, dipping my nose a little bit to get some energy. And there he is again, probably being chased by someone else right now. And someone just flew over top of me there and there. Another G50 flying down low, being chased by, looks like a Spitfire. and then my target over here, pulling a lead turn to stay ahead of him, and he cuts back across me again, pulling up. Once again, the AI in this game have the energy boost, the speed boost, or I guess they call it arcade boost in the game, and I left it off for the pilots, so sometimes the enemy planes will pull some strange energy maneuvers that I cannot manage to keep up with. Alright, now I've snuck up on the tail of a guy who's chasing after one of my own pilots. A few firing bursts gets him off. And awkward flying there, but I am staying behind him. And actually, you can't tell that little burst, I think must have knocked the pilot out or killed the pilot, because he went into a spiral and smashed into the ground, and I got credit for that kill. So despite the fact that I did not get a clean blow up of him, I must have shot him down. I've discovered that the machine guns, when I fire them, especially when in the Hurricane and in the Spitfire, the low-level Spitfire, especially when I run out of cannons, I seem to get a lot more pilot hits and pilot unconscious. I think they spray. That splash back there is another plane that was after me, seemed to have lost its energy. I believe it was an AI that did that, and somehow lost its energy and splashed into the water, which is pretty funny. And there is another plane on my tail that I'm trying to shake right now. You can see him back there. Again, working on my look around. I've got the inside turn, so I pull kind of a barrel roll, hoping to pull up behind him. And I lost him again in this turn, but managed to get him off my tail. So not a bad maneuver, getting me free of an enemy on my tail. And as I mentioned in other videos, as AI are pretty tenacious, so getting one off your tail is a pretty good thing. And back on the tail of some other AI here. The danger in pulling up like this, of course, is that I'm likely to lose my energy. So I try to stay low, not try to chase them too much, keeping an eye on them up above me. The G50 in particular seems to drop quite a lot when they fly. They come up and then they drop back down, putting them back in your view for chasing after, which makes them a little bit more vulnerable. Beginning to track the skills of the AI. There's someone on my tail again, so it was worth checking my 6 that time, and it turns out that that's actually a Spitfire. He did not fire at me, let me go. He's probably checking out to see who I was. There was no radio communication in this game. I got lucky there. G50 drifts in front of my cannons, and I slow down, pull an inverted maneuver, stay inverted, hit the shot, hit his oil tank, and that was enough to knock this plane down. So that is kill number 3 in this game. I titled this video Near-Death Experiences because I actually had several near-death experiences in this game. None of them have come up yet, but we're getting ready to have them right about here. So as I'm flying, and has been flying along, I've noticed the less I get killed, the more likely it is that I am to run out of fuel. And here in a moment, my fuel kicks out far away from my base, and my engine shuts off, which is a nightmare. Still looking around, trying to track other planes. At this point, my cannons have run out. Now, I thought about going inverted there and realized I was going to run out of energy, so I let that enemy go, fly mostly straight to pull some energy back again, and then try the reverse the other direction, hoping to meet him halfway around the circle. Doing a lot better at keeping an eye on my 6 than I was in the previous game, so I gotta say that's also an improvement. Oh, and there, engine kicks off. Now I love that you can see the wear pattern on the propellers. At this point, I knew I was in trouble. Dropping the wheel or dropping the flaps was going to let me run out. I'm quickly scanning anywhere that I could pull a safe landing. I would just rather try to role play this and see if I couldn't pull a safe landing. And I noticed that there's a bit of green pasture on the other side of the river. So the trick is to keep my nose up as long as possible, to keep my wheels up as long as possible, just to get across the river. And then right around here, drop the wheels down. I left the flaps on and go for the touchdown in this field, realizing there's a line of trees up ahead of me somewhere, but and somebody is shooting at me at that point. So I got my wheels down. Wheels are mostly done, a little bit of bouncing. Now I'm rolling through fields, and trying to give it a little bit of left rudder to avoid the set of trees and to take advantage of that little path down to the left. But a safe touchdown, so my pilot landed in enemy territory. Now I got to jump out of the plane and run and see if I can't find a French barn to hide in until and hopefully the farmer will let me stay safe and stay away from his daughter. My plane is safe and landed, and I managed to escape unscathed. Now the game counts this, of course, as having had my plane downed. There is no fuel anywhere nearby for me to reload and go. So in just a moment, it blinks me out, and I respawn. So that was the first of my near-death experiences. And the second of my near-death experiences happens just after respawn. So here I am on the runway, and the 109 pilot decided to come and get some revenge, and I've slowed this down for your viewing pleasure here. Firing, 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 and oh my, looks like he crashed right on me. Now I have a feeling that because I respawned, I was invulnerable. But either way, I escaped unscathed and managed to take off, and the game ended just moments later.